So welcome everyone, Norman Kinsey with Liftoff Agent, and welcome to our third event, How to Navigate This Lockdown. And today we're bringing your dream team, changing things up a bit and wanting to be able to give you a different perspective from how are moving companies operating and how are they transitioning and how are they going through this process to also general contractors. And we've done mortgage before, and we have our mortgage professional, and we also now have an escrow officer, and we're also going to be bringing in Cody, who's going to be someone that's specializes in the home inspection side of things. So there you go, Jessica. She got the camera. Good job. Looking good. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and kick this off. The first participant, or the first speaker, should I say, is going to be Mr. Don Lee. Don Lee has a moving company, and he is in the greater East Bay area. And we already put together some questions, so we're going to be changing the context up here just a tad bit. And each individual speaker will have about 10 minutes to speak and about 5 to 10 minutes for a Q&A. So we'll go ahead and pause. Some of the speakers will have to leave after their time to speak, so make sure to ask all your questions that you have during that time. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Don. And the first question I want to ask you, Don, is I really want to find out, what was your initial feeling when you heard about this stand-in-place ordinance? The president's like, okay, you're going to stay at home, we're shutting down. What was that initial feeling on your side?
Well, yeah, I think like everyone else, the feelings were mixed in many different levels. All of us, myself included, had great concerns about what was going on in terms of the health and safety of our families, our coworkers, people all around us. And I think on the one hand, there was some relief to see that significant action was being taken. But of course, anybody would have concerns about, well, what does this mean for our businesses? What does this mean for our children in schools? What does this mean for the economy at large? And I think all of those feelings came to the forefront right from the get-go. At least insofar as our business, moving services were deemed an essential activity from the get-go. People cannot shelter in place if they do not have a place. And sometimes you have a place to live, you need to move. And so we have been moving people from the beginning of the shelter-in-place order to now, offering all the same sort of services. We have had to make certain modifications to how we do things, like every other business. Sending out crews with gloves and masks, which is not the end of the world. It's obviously the safest thing to do, but when you're lifting heavy boxes and working up the sweat, wearing gloves and masks are not the most comfortable thing, but obviously a necessary precaution. And we've done a number of other things in terms of separating our workforce, having certain people on our team that only go out to homes and never come inside the warehouse, having other workers that only work inside the warehouse, having office staff all go virtual, so no longer working here in the office. So I'm all alone in the office. It's a lonely existence for now, but it's not forever. So we're working through things.
Wow, that's awesome. So it sounds like, so from the initial thought process, how did you adapt and transition with safety? Like getting the gloves, getting the mask, was it an automatic for you, or was it day by day listening to the media and the news and kind of just like, okay, this is what we have to start to implement?
Well, we implemented everything right from the get-go. But in terms of getting people to comply as rigorously as we would want, that took more time. And I think that for all of us, when, at least I can speak for myself, when shelter-in-place first came out, it was really kind of hard to accept and believe this is something that we really needed to do. But I think as more and more of us learned more about what was going on, and especially as many of us have come to know somebody that's been directly impacted, or a family member that might have been directly impacted by the pandemic, of course, our sensitivity, willingness to do different things is only heightened. So while we implemented everything from the get-go, I think that it's over time something that has just become part of their normal operating procedure, something that people don't really have to think about. I think the separating of workers into different functions to keep people apart was something that was most difficult because everybody wants to help everybody else, even if they're not working on the same thing. And that instinct had to be sort of trained out of people that in this particular instance, it's safest to actually just do your own thing and not sometimes lend a helping hand when you otherwise would be inclined to do so. I'd say the one significant change that we've seen For any of our larger moves, we always provide an estimate that requires an in-home visit. And in the past, we always offer the people to do that visit or that survey virtually. So to do it by video, to not actually have to have somebody come to your home, that it can be more time efficient and so forth, and just a lot more immediate to have that done in a virtual sense. Prior to shelter in place, I would say for every 1,000 estimates we would do, there'd be one person that would be willing or interested to do it virtually. Obviously, with shelter in place, we've done virtually 100% in the time since then virtually, and I think people have just grown a lot more comfortable with that. And I suspect even when shelter in place ultimately ends, that is a behavior that may genuinely shift. For example, a meeting like this, in the past, the idea of doing this by video would be just absurd, and now it's fantastic to see people's faces on video. And this is, when you have no other human connection or very limited, this is very good. So I think a lot of our behaviors and attitudes have been changed and conditioned, changes in the business as a result.
Wow, that's awesome. So so we lost me for a second. My computer, I don't know what happened, and then I just came back. So thanks for keep on talking. I'm glad we skip a beat there because I was like,
I figured only you were gone and other people could still hear, but you're never quite sure with video conference. So yeah, I figured just keep talking and people will maybe miss a word or two and maybe we'll be okay.
Hey, this is real life, right? We're navigating through this thing. We're human, it's like we're doing the best we can. We have over 17 participants plus our speakers. You're also here. So awesome. Fantastic. Well, no, that's really good information. And thank you so much for sharing. And how do you feel this is going to affect or change your business? Are you looking at this as maybe a different way that you potentially can conduct business in the future? Or how do you think this may affect your business in the future?
Well, I think, again, the surveys being done and other things that in the past we would always do in person, people are just much more comfortable with virtual meetings and virtual interaction. So I think that will be something that will really help our business make it more efficient, because in the past, almost every single person would want you to come into their home and sit down with them, and that's great. Happy to do that, and we will still do that. But in many cases, people don't have time for that, or they want more immediacy. And I think that will be one of the real benefits for our business and for everybody's business and the economy in general, as we become more comfortable with taking advantage of that technology. There are many people I know, especially not to generalize, but the people of a different generation, that in the past, the idea of having a video conference was something that was not comfortable, desirable, or they had ever done. And now I don't think there's anybody that has not done a social event, a meeting, even an Easter dinner, whatever it is, via video conference. And that's becoming now just a much more normal and natural thing. And I think there are some benefits over the long term, although that human contact and connection that we all crave will still be there and will still be ultimately the best way to meet with people and connect.
Yeah, no, definitely. And since we have a lot of viewers here that are in the real estate space and a lot of realtors, how have things changed or navigated differently working with the realtors? Are you doing these type of meetings with them for if they have clients that are looking to move and what have you?
Yes, well, we have many realtors and others that will have clients, friends, family, whatever it is, that want to do a move, want to connect us. Again, in the past, that would always necessitate that in-home visit, but now we can much more immediately get out and see people, sometimes provide very quick answers and quick advice. People sometimes have a question: can this item be moved? What would be involved? Is it worth even thinking about moving it, or should we just get rid of it? And now we can just get on a video with them and in a matter of seconds provide a quick answer. It doesn't require somebody driving an hour and a half through terrible traffic. Of course, we don't have traffic anymore, but traffic turns, which hopefully, I never thought I would say this, but hopefully there will be days we'll see traffic again. That means things are happening. But in the past, you would actually have to get somebody to go out there, and now there's just not the same need for that. So I think that's a benefit that hopefully will continue.
Awesome. Fantastic. So for all of our viewers right now and listeners, if you have any questions for Don Lee, definitely go ahead and put them in the chat right now. Don, what areas do you service, and how could our viewers get a hold of you if they're interested in your services?
Well, we're based in the East Bay in San Leandro, where our warehouse is located, but we cover the entire Bay Area. We're primarily an interstate mover. We're an agent for North American Van Line, so the bulk of our work are interstate moves across the country, but we also do local moves, and we're pretty active doing international moves. And we also have a mobile storage business, so people need storage pods, delivered, loaded, that type of thing. We do that as well.
Wow.
And if people want to reach me, my phone number, 510-749-8300. Again, 510-749-8300. And the email is don@allcitymove.com.
Awesome. Fantastic. So we're doing pretty well, a little actually perfect, a little beyond schedule. So 2 minutes from our schedule here, but perfect. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the insight. If any questions come up, please go ahead and ask them now. Don, can you stay with us a little bit longer, or do you have to get going?
Absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. So if you have any questions, go ahead and fire them away, and we're going to go ahead and pivot, and we're going to go from the moving side of things to now going into the home, into more of general construction. And we have Jason Bliss with us today, and Jason Bliss was kind enough to be a part of our panelist. And I've known Jason for quite a while from RMA over in Danville, California, the local networking meeting for realtors out there. And welcome. Thank you for being with us today, Jason. I think you're muted. Let's see if I can unmute you. Let me see. Here you go. You're unmuted now.
Yep. Appreciate it. Glad to be with you all, even though I can't see who all is out there other than our panelists, but that's all right. We get used to just speaking to a camera now, and you just pray that everything's working all right.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just like, I hope that's what it's like for me too. I was like, what? So really quick, Don Lee, if you could put your contact information in the comment section down below. We had a question for you really quick. And Jay Bliss is the man. Kyle said you're the man. Love it. Awesome. So welcome for being, and thank you for being with us today. So going into some questions for you. So what was your initial thoughts and feelings when this whole ordinance kicked off for your business, and how did you adapt to those changes?
You know, it's really interesting because unfortunately, my initial thought was fear. And I think sometimes we tend to generalize a lot of things, but at the basis for me was fear. Fear that all of our jobs would be shut down. It was like I literally can remember sitting at Primo's Pizza downtown Danville having my lunch, and I'm watching on the screen as this health order comes across, and immediately it was just like my stomach dropped, and it's like, wait a minute, what? Like, how does this happen? Like, this has never happened in our entire lifetime. I mean, how do you shut down an entire economy, And so it's like immediately it was like, holy crap. Like, so fear sets in. Then, for us, we've got, a pretty large team. So immediately my mind goes to, okay, here's 15 families that we're currently employing and, providing for. And so I've got 15 families that are going to be affected by this. We've got 8 projects that we're currently on. So 8 families are now going to be further affected by inconvenience, loss of space, all of this other stuff. So, unfortunately, the mind starts going through these rabbit holes, concerned about my guys that are working for us, concerned about the families that we're serving. And, fear can be pretty consuming. So very quickly had to kind of just get in check and like, okay, wait a minute. Fear's overriding. What's the basis of this? Let's start looking at the truth of it. So immediately got back to the office, start downloading the health order, start reaching out to people, kind of, okay, where's everybody at with this? Where's this going to leave us? So, once we started actually reading the health order and kind of saw some of those areas where we could continue to work and thrive, it's like, okay, some of that fear goes away, but by the end of that day, I still had to make a really tough decision, and we ended up having to furlough like 5 guys that day, just because from a financial standpoint, you got to start, and I'll kind of harken back to, not too many people know this, but I actually have a background working in title and escrow, and working up and through the the 2008 mortgage meltdown, I was subjected to a lot of very quick, immediate, financial decisions. And I have to say, I learned a lot by working for larger companies, that when things like this happen, when things come at you that is unexpected, you have to make very quick decisions financially. And so all that to say, made some very quick decisions, but we were able to bring some of the guys, back over time. We've been kind of rotating some guys in and out. So we've done the best that we can, but all that to say, fear is no longer there. And we're just, we're back to functioning normal.
Wow, that's awesome. I love how you're proactive, went to the office, did your due diligence, found out what you needed to do. You pretty much answered question 1 and 2 for us. So now that it's been a couple months, how are things changed in your business, and how are you navigating now with keeping things like gloves, masks, keeping safe, keeping with the ordinance that are out there?
Yeah, that was probably one of the tougher things for us, because while we already were set up for a lot of these things, we already protect, the parts of the home that we're not going to be in. We're already setting up for all this. Proud to say, and it's such a small thing, but since we initially started using porta potties on our projects, years ago, I've always insisted that we have hand washing stations in our porta potties, and it just, for me, it's a hygiene thing, and you go to a lot of construction sites and there's no hand wash stations in the porta potties. So it's always been a small thing, cost, an extra $20 a month or whatever, but that already kind of accelerated. Okay, well, now we don't have to worry about getting hand wash stations out. They're already there. So for us, it was just a matter of, okay, we've got to comb through this health order. What are all the notices that we have to have on site? What are all the protective measures that each of the guys are going to have to adhere to? How do we stagger out the trades? So it really, probably the longest time was going through all of those health orders and figuring out how do we make it work. The funny thing is, immediately all of the building departments kind of started shutting down on us. And that was a real bummer, because it was like, wait, we've got projects in progress that we've got to get inspections for. Thankfully, I've got a great working relationship with the town of Danville, and I was able to get on the phone with them and actually get a new building permit in the middle of all this, believe it or not. And so, just working collectively with the municipalities, being a part of the National Association of Remodeling Industry, National Association of Home Builders, they were constantly getting us out information that kept us up to date. So while we had to do some things internally to figure these things out, we had a lot of support through the trade organizations that we've been a part of for years. And they really helped us kind of gear up, get ready for, and stay, continuing through this. And so now everything that's come out, for what's coming Monday, which is basically all construction opening back up, but there's still all these caveats that we have to follow. Well, the good thing is most of these things we've already put in place. Now it's just some minor tweaks, changing some of the posting notices that we have on all of our properties, being in communication with the homeowners that, okay, while things have changed for us, that opens it up, we still have to protect you. We still have to protect your home. We still have to isolate, the trades. So there's some small tweaks, but, all that to say, we're very happy. And for us, it was a time to really collectively get back to some of my corporate kind of roots and put some processes in place so that we're not scrambling in the future. But it's been great, meetings like this, the local marketing meetings, be able to network continuously through this. It's been a great opportunity for us to just educate and be in front of people and let people know, hey, look, none of us are in this alone. We all need each other. And, how can we help in this situation? Right.
Yeah. Wow. For sure. I love how you're so proactive. And if I was a client of yours, I love how you were already putting them on the forefront of this whole process, and from everything from the little changes that you made to reaching out to the city and getting the permits and being proactive and already being 10 steps ahead. So that's awesome. How do you feel like your business is going to change now for the future? Is there anything that you're going to do differently, or to kind of prepare yourself where something like this, hopefully knock on wood, never happens? But
I think for us, and again, kind of coming out of the background that I had, I started this business in the middle of the foreclosure boom, the mortgage meltdown. And from the start, we had opportunities to work with one of the biggest banks at the time, and those that are in the industry, they'll recognize Countrywide Bank, right? Okay, Countrywide was like the major bank handling, the lion's share of the foreclosures. And while we had a large account with that bank, I knew early on that, look, we can't put all our eggs in one basket. We can't rely on just a single source. So rather than just relying on the easy work from the big bank, immediately started going back to my roots, networking with the local real estate community, networking with local lenders, networking with all of these local entities that no matter what happens, this business is local, and, this goes back to, back when the realtors were, concerned with all this online presence of, Zillow and cyber homes and all these things, and this concern that somehow online was going to take over. Well, this business is still a relationship business. We can't get away from that, right? So I kind of went back to, okay, don't put all your eggs in one basket, stay relational. But what's come out of this for me is because of the lack of ability to move forward on remodel projects and different things like that, I really started focusing back on some of our smaller stuff, the home maintenance, the Section 1 repairs, the deferred maintenance, things like that. We've been really pushing that agenda, as well as getting out in front of the property managers, getting in front of some of our commercial clients to say, okay, there's still some essential business that was going on from a tenant improvement standpoint. So let's get out in front of that and let's make sure that we're diversifying our book of business and not just focusing on, kitchens, bathrooms, additions, that kind of thing. That's all great, but I never will forget that the handyman, the home maintenance, the Section 1 work, this is what got us started, and I never want to turn away from that.
That's awesome. And I'm sure our viewers and the realtors out there would also like that as well, because I'm sure there's some smaller projects that maybe they need to get a home ready for listing or online or what have you to get on the market. So that's awesome. That's really cool. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and put them in there for Jason. Jason, what areas do you serve? How can they get a hold of you?
So best way to get a hold of us, and I'll put my contact information in, but we cover the 680-24 corridor. We're based here in Danville. We really try to keep our projects as close to home as possible so that we have, adequate oversight. But we'll go as far south as Sunol, Pleasanton, Livermore on 680. We'll go that far south. We won't go over the Altamont or, over the Sunol grade. We stop at the Caldecott Tunnel, or at least we try to. And then to the north, Benicia Bridge to the north, that's kind of our boundary. So if you look at that 680-24 corridor, that's our real sweet spot. We can be, especially right now, we can be at any project within 10 to 15 minutes. But on worst days, it might be half hour, 45 minutes to get to most of them. We have a great office phone setup. Actually, when you call the number that I'll put up here, it actually rings out to 3 of us. That way, if I'm on the phone with somebody else, somebody in the office is picking up. If they're on the phone, well, then Chris, my, handyman, he's out in the field continuously, he's picking up. So you're always going to have somebody picking up that phone when you call that. Otherwise, we've got the website, which you can put requests through, or my email address, which I typically try to, reply to within the hour. So I'll put all that contact information. And, for all the realtors out there, please, there's a lot of people that say no job too small, but we really, you guys are our bread and butter. So, if it's just changing out a couple broken, gate pieces or fence pieces, we'll go out and do stuff like that. We're here for you guys. So thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and definitely put your contact information in there. And we definitely want to understand how you're navigating, but then also, give our viewers the ability to say, hey, maybe I want to use Jason or Don Lee, what have you. So it looks like we're going to be shifting a little bit on the schedule. So thank you so much, Jessica, for hanging in there and being with us the whole time. So Cody is not currently here, it looks like. So we're going to shift and go from Cody, who is going to be their next speaker at home inspection, and go to Jessica. And Jessica is someone who's an escrow officer, and she was kind enough to be here today and be a part of the event. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Jessica, to help you out there. So let's go ahead and unmute you. And so how are you doing today, Jessica?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. No worries, Stuart. I love the sign behind you. That's great. There you go. That's who she works with. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit into your business, how things have shifted and changed and what have you on that side. So what was your initial feelings when you heard about the ordinance and what had to happen and what have you on that side?
Well, for us, at first, it's diving into the questions towards management, like determining what our role is as an essential business. And the fact that we rely on so many other businesses, such as the recorder's office or servicing companies for loans, how does that affect our function in closing real estate transactions? So it's been a touch and feel as we move along throughout this, through the guidance of, the ordinances, and kind of just adapt as we can.
Yeah, definitely. So now what's changed the most from what you're doing before with Escrow to now? Is it just working from home, or how's the whole process changed?
Well, it's been interesting because half the office is working from home, half is working in the office. Working from home, you're at a disadvantage because you don't have all the equipment that you need to really work efficiently and as fast as, people are used to us working. There's situations to where we have lenders that aren't operating at their full capacity. Payoffs are taking longer. You don't know what recorder's office has e-recordings versus over the counter. So it's just really been touch and feel the whole entire process, because we're trying to work as efficiently and on a timely manner as people are used to, because time is of the essence on our end. And it's just, it's been quite the experience. I mean, there's notaries. Notaries is an issue. We have to make sure that we have access to mobile notaries because our office is closed to the public. We no longer do in-office signings. So, and then our mobile notary service is scarce because some notaries are high risk and choosing not to do signings. So everything is at a limit while we're trying to work as efficiently as we were prior to the pandemic.
Wow. So what's been the biggest change, would you say, now it's been a couple months? What's like the biggest change that you've seen?
You just learn to adapt. You learn how to prioritize when you know what you're working with. Time-wise, when you know that it's taken an extra week for a payoff demand, you make sure that you get a jump start on everything from start to finish of an escrow. Whether it's a sale or a refinance, it doesn't matter. We have to be as efficient as possible. And that's where our clients being proactive with their clients really helps us out the most.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. So what do you see now with escrow and title? How do you see it shifting now for the future with this pandemic and the stay-at-home ordinance? How do you think it's going to affect the business? Are you going to do more online meetings now? Is it going to be more virtual? Speed it up a little bit?
I don't know how much more we can speed things up, but I do think that being as virtual helps. We're trying to always be as paperless as possible, trying to do things more electronically. It's not always the easiest thing for us to do when we have to handle wet signatures. I know they're navigating mobile notaries to e-signings to where that's done electronically. So we're still seeing how that's going to happen in the state of California. So it's really touch and feel throughout the entire process on our end to know what we can work with and what we can, how we can maneuver.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing how now it's like a completely different reality of doing business with this whole online Zoom. And I heard a lot about notary and a couple of events back when we first started this process, like mobile notary wasn't even on the ballot to be signed. And it was just like, okay, well, now California needs to get up to par and get that going ASAP so we can, move forward. I mean, and it's great that, California deemed real estate essential business as well a couple weeks back, which is awesome. So that was great as well. And what areas does Sewer Title operate and service in? If anyone has any questions, go ahead and put those questions for us as well.
So I'm based in Walnut Creek. Sewer Title is nationwide. We service the full state of California. We definitely handle a lot of local business here in the Bay Area, but we're not limited to any area in California.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Fantastic. And then how can they get a hold of you? And of course, you can put your contact information in the chat there as well.
I will. Okay, so I'm in Walnut Creek, Stewart Title. In the chat section, I'll put the phone number and email jessica.irwin@stewart.com.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you for being here and also helping us and kind of navigating as, life is what it is and things get thrown at us. And it looks like Cody isn't with us right now. So we had to speed things up a little bit. So we're actually way ahead of schedule now, which is awesome. So see if Arjun is available and ready to go ahead and kick things off on his side from the mortgage side. Okay, there he is. Awesome.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for hanging in there and being a part of the whole process from the beginning.
Of course, man.
Yeah, so Arjun's in San Francisco, mortgage broker, been in the business for quite a while. You can give some context there, and welcome, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Norman. Thanks for including me, man. Appreciate your support for things that I've done, and I'm happy to give back to your audience.
Of course. So what company are you with?
So I'm with All Western Mortgage. We're actually a correspondent bank. We have broker capability, but we as a bank first. Bank is based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, the largest privately owned bank in the state of Nevada, but we lend in 13 states. And I've been in the Bay Area for about 17 years here.
Okay. Got it. So kind of what was your initial feeling going into this whole ordinance of standing in place, and how'd that make you feel when you first heard that?
Yeah, a lot very similar to most of the other, all the other panelists. It was like a mix of emotions. At first, I'll be honest, probably my first largest wave of emotions were skepticism. I was really skeptical, like, what is this? This doesn't feel real. There's something off about this. So I started questioning a lot more. And then as that tidal wave, continued and, everywhere I looked, it was very, very real. Of course, like everyone else, there's a bit of a small amount or maybe even a large amount of panic that sets in and great uncertainty. And then, maybe even, I think Jason brought up an eerily familiar feeling to 2008, 2009, 10 years ago. I worked through that time period and I remember it. And so on a personal level, I went straight into, because I'd been journaling, from a professional standpoint of what happened last time and what I want to make sure I'm in better position as a professional and as a business owner to be able to do next time around. Because it's not a matter of, if these times happen, it's always just a matter of when. You don't know, and you get blindsided with the thing you're not paying attention to. So I dug right into that, and then I shared a lot of that with with my team, and we just kind of, ran towards this thing rather than running away from it. So, to answer your question, the feelings were mixed, initially skeptical, and then a bit fearful of like, oh shit, what's going to happen now? We've got, 2008 happening all over again. What's going to happen to my business? What's going to happen to my clients? What's going to happen to the market? Seeing the stock market like completely sell off at the time, and already talk of layoffs and whatnot. So it felt very, very familiar, but then just almost like a strange calm, and by using that frame of reference from 10 years ago, and then just running right at it, man, and then adjusting like everybody else has to day to day, because there's new stuff happening all the time.
Yeah. Wow. So when you said that running right at it and hitting it full force with your team, what was some initial thoughts and how did you get them prepared for, hey, we don't know what we don't know, but we got to move towards this thing and keep pushing forward?
So last time around, it was the banking system that actually was the catalyst for that, specifically mortgage banking and securitization. So when you have all of that happening, you're pretty much crippled. And it was very easy 10 years ago to be paralyzed and kind of wonder and wait, okay, well, let me just see how this shakes out, and then I can figure out how I'm going to work. And for many of us, that took months, if not a year, before we could figure out new footing. So right now, when this happened, initially, there wasn't necessarily product being pulled off the table right away. And the banks, in a very different position, completely opposite, are well capitalized for this. If anything, it was going to be the banking and the financial sector that was probably going to lift us out of this or be the nucleus of the healing and the recovery. So we just said, look, we've got products, we've got things that are out there. What we need to do is help right now because we're in position to do that. So we started attacking our entire database and pool of clients and anyone that we were associated with first and foremost using their mortgage as a weapon, to fight back against a lot of this economic uncertainty. And what I mean by that is trying to get your financial house in order. Unlike last time, people are sitting on still heavy amounts of equity. And I'm not talking about an irresponsible squandering of it here. Don't get me wrong at all. I'm talking about the fact that people have it. It can be put to use if it's done so responsibly and can get things in order. Unlike last time where there was no equity, and that's what kind of fueled it. So people, you know, I've been very eager to try and figure out solutions to using that to get things in order and paying down debts, you know, having a bit of a strategic reserve for unexpected expenses or, you know, any emergency that may come up, and then just giving them peace of mind. So we've been doing a lot of that and helping people out, just eliminating and whacking out debts and unnecessary expenses and helping them, you know, tighten their financial belt, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I saw on your Instagram, so I know you're really big on Instagram, that you were posting about that as well. Did a very good informational video exactly about that subject matter. You know, you could use your equity and put it in different places and recalibrate and what have you to help a little bit if maybe you lost your job or something came up for your household and for your family and loved ones. So now, since it's been a couple months, what's been the biggest change for your business?
Well, from an operations standpoint, you know, we went through a lot of the same stuff that, you know, Jessica alluded to entirely. We had to figure out, like, how are all of our counterparts and all these ancillary aspects that we deal with, whether it's, you know, title and investors and whatnot, how is this all going to work with everyone working from home? Surprisingly, and a real credit to the entire industry and all these industries, there's been just great collaboration and everyone, you know, being very patient and mindful with one another in each respective space to keep things working. And they have been working. You know, I mean, things are still getting done. It might take a little bit longer. It might require a little bit of a stronger internet signal or what have you, but things are getting done. And so we leverage a lot of technology at our bank, like most lenders do, but we're very heavy on a lot of communicative and systems technology. So we're able to operate remotely. You know, I don't have to be in an office with my team. They don't have to be in an office with me. Everyone's kind of spread out and it's just business as usual. So we're fortunate that way that we didn't have to do a lot of pivoting and recalibrating systemically. But like I said, I think there's just been really great cohesion between all these different industries under the real estate umbrella, whether it's brokerage, title, and escrow, lending, and people are really working together and coming together to continue to help. And it's been nice to see.
Awesome. That's great. So any changes do you see for your business in the future now, since you have a different perspective with this whole pandemic and now using Zoom and these type of meetings? Do you see anything that may be a part of your standard operating procedure in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I've already upgraded my Zoom account, so they've got more of my money now. So it looks like I'm going to be using it more. Yeah, because, you know, meetings go longer than 40 minutes, the standard free time. So I think people have found that, and we definitely have, that technology there's so much of it that we haven't been necessarily taking advantage of until we were forced to, until we were confronted with it. And now that we've been leveraging it, we see that there, you know, are some really great tools here that can save time and create efficiencies. So we're using the heck out of it now. And I think that's going to be something we'll continue to do moving forward. So that'll definitely be a change, a heavier reliance on technology and a lot of these platforms to reach more people, help more, and just be more efficient.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So I've been talking a little bit about your Instagram to some of the viewers and some of the individuals that are here right now, and you have 114,000 followers on your Instagram, and you get 2,000 plus views, lots of likes. You're crushing it for a mortgage broker. I mean, hands off to you.
Thanks.
So have you been leveraging that at all to also help with kind of getting out there and reaching to additional audiences and maybe, you know, has that helped you at all with your business?
Definitely it has, yeah, because it can go where I can't, you know, and now especially during a time like this, you know, you recognize, do I have a brand or do I not? And it's never too late to start one, of course, but if you've got one, your brand can do a lot more work for you. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I think everyone that's in our space that's on this panel, and all these awesome panelists, you know, all those industries and all those professions can have an online brand that can be reaching people when you can't. And now that people are stuck, you know, in a home or, you know, locked away, a lot of your marketing practices or, you know, typical outreach, you know, protocols that you would have to your clients, to prospective clients, you can't do those anymore. So you're going to have to find a new way to reach them, a different way to reach them. And online or within social media specifically, a really, really effective way to do it. And there's people doing it in the construction space. There's people doing it in the moving space. There's people doing it in my space, real estate, title, and escrow. I mean, it's all out there. So it has been a really effective means of reaching more people, connecting with more, staying in touch with a lot of our clients, being supportive. There's tremendous sense of community there as well. But yeah, we're using the hell out of it. And, you know, if anything, we've doubled down on it during this time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So of course, any questions for Arjun, go ahead and put that into the chat section down below. Anything for the viewers and listeners that maybe they can take, anything, any advice, any help, any support, you know, keeping moving forward through navigating during these times.
I think just, you know, rely on community, you know, stay positive, stay upbeat, and stick with people that are doing good things, because it's really easy to dwell and get sucked into. I mean, they definitely don't turn on the news, you know, because it's so doom and gloom anymore. But yeah, just stick with positive and like-minded community. And as far as, you know, if you're a business owner and you're out there, find ways to connect and just give away value. Don't necessarily think about how am I going to make money and how am I going to do stuff. Just think about actually first how I can help, how I can serve. If you're trying to figure out, well, what would I put out there? What should my brand be saying? And I think if you think with that kind of a hat first, it'll pay, you know, 2x back to you. So that would just be my 2 cents in terms of a mindset.
Yeah, no, I love that. And definitely would love to let the viewers and listeners and watchers know how to get a hold of you. We would love to, you know, check out your Instagram. I highly recommend everyone check out his Instagram, see what he's doing. He's doing some amazing things, and you inspired me, man. I'm like, geez, I'm at a fraction of where you're at.
Oh, no,
the social media guy
you
here.
Inspire me. No, you inspire me, man. You do a lot of great things with your podcast and for the real estate community, man. So I appreciate you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. So yeah, any questions, go ahead and put that in the chat. I don't see Cody here right now. We're way ahead of schedule, so we're doing really good here. So if anyone has any questions for any of the panelists, you can go ahead and fire away. Definitely, Arjun, put your contact information in the chat. And then if anyone wants to chime in with anything as far as maybe something that you would like to, you know, give back or talk about really quick, since we have one more time for our panelists, the next steps would be me going into some practical things that our viewers and listeners can use for their business on online marketing and social positioning side. So I really appreciate everyone's time and everyone being here today. And for our panelists here and our speakers, you know, if you have to get going, no problem. And we can go ahead. If any questions come up, we'll ask them right now. If not, you all can get going, and then I can transition over. And if you want to stay, you're more welcome into some things that I have here for some best practices and techniques in marketing online. So does anyone want to chime in with anything? Just something maybe you wanted to mention or wanted to put out there before we transition? I think if we're good, Okay, cool. So we can go ahead and move forward. Any questions come up, go ahead and just put them in the chat. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pivot. And I'm going to go ahead and pivot over and show my screen over here. And let's go ahead and take this, and we're going to look at a couple different things. So let's go ahead, and my computer shut off on me, so I had to get everything going here. So what I really want to talk about today is I want to talk about what you do practically to really help your company grow and to be able to do things from home, really, to be able to grow your company and to be able to do some things to be able to take your company to the next level. And definitely look up what Arjun's doing, because he definitely has some really good insights on that. And so I'm going to pull up a couple things and share a presentation with you all. And I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to show you a couple things to look at. So if you don't already have this, Google My Business is a great resource. This is something that you could set up that's absolutely free. And if you are thinking about reviews and where to get reviews or where should your reviews stay, your reviews should be on Google My Business. And the reason why is Google My Business gives you an opportunity to be able to get higher search results as Google wants you to use their system. So to give you an example of someone that is doing this already, if I look at Mr. Matt Tenzar, Google My Business is this here on the right-hand side. So it would have your address and phone number, and then you can have some reviews that will also be housed here as well, which that's a really good thing to take in consideration. Another thing to take in consideration is going to be the Facebook Pixel. So if you haven't checked out a Facebook Pixel before, what the Facebook Pixel does is, if you have a website, you can put the Facebook Pixel into your header of your website. And if you've ever if you ever went shopping and you had an ad pop up, you're like, are they following me? What's going on here? Why is this ad popping up? I was just searching for whatever it was online. The Facebook Pixel is a way for you to do it for your business on your website, and it's free. And you can put the Facebook Pixel into your website. For any of the realtors out there that are viewing, you can ask your broker to put this into your website, or if you have your own website, you can then go ahead and put that in there. And then when you run ads online, you can then be able to help get out and have more of a reach. If you're thinking about doing video, I would highly recommend looking into, and I'm sure a lot of individuals already have this, it would be the ring light. A ring light is a great way to be able to just take your smartphone and you can put it in the ring light, and you can be able to do some video and be able to film yourself. That's also another good thing to use. And if you're thinking about any technology, like maybe you're like, well, I don't want to use my phone, I want to maybe look into other activities or maybe devices you could use. These are two devices here. You have the Osmo Action. This is a Osmo Action. You go into the water, it auto stabilizes, and it has more of a fish eye lens, so you can do a video walkthrough towards something like this, and it'll give you a nice good angle. And then if you wanted to use something with a gimbal, then you could use the Osmo Pocket, and this is going to be a nice device, and they both shoot in 4K and 1080p that can help you and your business to be able to do something outside of just using your smartphone. Those are two devices you can look up. They're both made by Osmo. You have the Action and you have the Pocket. So those are the two that you potentially could look up there. So that ties in with the presentation, and the whole thing as far as what we're doing here today is we just want to give back to the real estate community and really, get you to think about some things, some practical things that you could do to really be able to help your business. And this is transferable through all different businesses. And at Liftoff Agent, our focus is help you really get focus on your ideal client and area that you serve. In the real estate space, there's a lot of tools and resources and things that you could use. But if you really get focused in a specific city and also get specifically focused on a buyer or seller more specifically, you can have more success when marketing. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that and go more into what your online marketing strategy looks like. So going from there, a mission statement, it's good to always think about have a mission statement for your business. And ours is to supersede the real estate marketing standard by innovating, positioning, and inspiring our family of clients and building a consistent roadmap for consistent growth so you can have support to take your marketing to new levels. That's our mission statement, and that mission statement is going to be transparent with our team. So I have my wife and my daughter. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter, and I got married last year, April 6th. That's myself, my wife, Melissa, and Jordan. And my business partner, Smith Chung, he's our co-founder here at Liftoff Agent, and he's one of our CSMs, content writer, Danny. We have our VP of growth, Mr. Dan Gandy. We also have our Facebook expert as far as our Facebook ads. This is going to be Austin. And then we have some outsourcing that we do. So if you don't have a team, technically you do, because you have your transaction coordinator. We had Stuart Tyrell here. We have the mortgage professional, with Arjun. Those are individuals that are part of your team. Those individuals help you facilitate your transaction and also help you with your company. So those are individuals that are part of your team. And a team's nice to have. And if you have a team that understands your mission statement and your why you're in business, it definitely helps clarity-wise to be able to get them to be more passionate behind the fact that your why is to take care of your family, or your why is to give back to charities or nonprofits. So when you're thinking about your business, definitely think about if you have a brand, do you want to tie in your mission statement to your slogan, or what does that look like, and how do you want to be able to give back and tie people that are part of your team into your why and into your mission statement that ties into that. So we have 5 key questions. You're more than welcome to go ahead and chat these if you will. And first one is, do you want to work smarter, not harder? I think we all do, and you can go ahead and fire away in the chat. Would love for you to participate here. Normally I'm in front of an audience, so it's a little bit different. Now I'm just talking to, I think Jason Bliss said this, just looking at this little camera here. So on my computer. So do you want to make more money? I think we all want to make more money. And who wants to become a millionaire? he wants to become a billionaire. And it's not always about the money, but it's nice to know that if you have the money, you can then give back or have more financial freedom or be able to do things that doesn't make you have to feel like you're always kind of paycheck to paycheck, which is nice. Also, who wants to automate their marketing? I think we all would want to automate our marketing. And who wants to learn something new? I think we all want to learn something new. If you could just go ahead and comment in the chat session with just yes, that would be awesome. I would appreciate it. So let's go ahead and move forward. So the first thing we want to identify is where you're at now, so we can really give you some things to think about as far as identifying where are you at today. What are you doing today with your marketing and your social media and your website? And what could you do today to really help you and your business have more of an online footprint? Because right now there's more people in history on these smartphones, and they're online, they're on social media, they're browsing the web because they have more time. So let's find out where you're at. And that's why I mentioned Google My Business, because if you have that set up, that's one additional way to be found online. We also want to find out, when it comes to your marketing, your who, why, and how. So who's your ideal client? How do you market to them? Or why do you want to market to them? Or why is there drivers behind why they're looking to buy or sell? And how do you market to them? So who's your ideal client? Why they're looking to make a move, and then how do you market to them, to give you some clarity there. So we'll answer that question today. And then a marketing strategy. So do you have a marketing strategy, and what does that look like? So today we're going to talk about your marketing strategy, and a marketing strategy is basically what you see here on the screen. So web design, management, you can do social media, you can build traffic to your website, you can optimize your processes, you can put together a plan, and you have to have a plan first and foremost to be able to have success through the process of marketing online, whether that's a posting calendar and you're consistent with that posting. And if you're marketing to your ideal buyer or to your ideal seller, and you put together video content around that specific client type, then you can get on a schedule with Liftoff Agent. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do a mission report, and we give back for free just to help you out and to put things in perspective with the mission report, to be able to give you some things to think about and to give back. Is just like Arjun said, it's good to give back, be a thought leader, and this is the best time as a realtor to do as such. How can you give back to your ideal buyer? How can you give back to your ideal seller? How can you put good content out there that can be educational? A really good book, it's called The 7 Triggers to Yes, and they say that you have more of a higher likelihood of someone using your services based off the 7 triggers to yes. That ties into, if you do something for someone else and it's selfless, then there's going to be a higher likelihood of that person saying, hey, I really appreciated what you did for me. I would love to be able to use your services or have you earn my business, or I would love to give you my business. So what we want to do right now is we really want you to take action, and we have something called the exposure grade. So right now you can pull out your smartphone. I'm going to give you a link, or you could use your computer and just go ahead and open up a new tab and go to exposuregrade.com. The exposuregrade.com is a quick little workshop. It's a little worksheet that you can go ahead and fill out. And what we're looking for is we're looking for your exposure grade. And it's going to grade you based off like your brand, your exposure, your website, your networking, your marketing, your door knocking. What are you doing to help you get as much exposure as possible? Of course, right now, there's not really the same, you can't door knock. You can make phone calls. It might be harder to reach people. You can still go to marketing meetings, and you can still go ahead and do that type of networking. But if you fill out the exposure grade, go ahead and give me your grade in the comment section. And if you go through that process, we have something we want to do to give back to all of our viewers today at the end of the presentation. So we'd love to go ahead and figure out what your grade is. So go ahead, if just pull out your phone, open a new tab, go ahead and just go to exposuregrade.com, fill out the questions, and we'd love to get your grade. I'm going to move on, but you're more than welcome to put that into the chat section. So from there, your exposure grade is as such: branding, where are you at? Your social media, what accounts do you have? What accounts do you not have? Your website, farm, and mailing, what are you currently doing? And networking. So there's no win or lose here. You're just either a trainee or you're going to be a guru when it comes to like your online, and also actually not just online, but also farming and mailing and networking for like more real life type activities. So what's your exposure grade? Just go ahead and and they all have a point, and then you can go ahead and put that into the chat section there. So we'd love to get your grade. And so from there, we want to talk about, who do you focus on, buyer or seller? Normally when you get into business, you focus on buyers, and then as you start to have more success, then you start working with sellers. And a lot of times sellers want to work with agents that have been in business for a while, have a track record, have testimonials, and have the confidence, and give the sellers confidence to be able to list their home. One thing that I've learned and been hearing a lot about is the fact that buyers and sellers, because of the pandemic, they don't have as much confidence to be able to want to buy a house or sell a house. And technically our house goes on the market next week on the 6th, May 6th. And so we had this plan a while back, my wife and I, and we said we're just going to keep on moving forward through this pandemic, and we're working with my wife's sister, Michelle Lewis, and we're just going to keep moving forward. So we have that confidence, and it's nice to be able to work with Michelle, who has the confidence that, hey, I can get your home sold even in these type of times, which is awesome. So if you can identify a buyer or seller and take it to the next step and find out why are they looking to buy or sell, then it'll really help you a lot with your online marketing. So if this is someone that's looking to buy or sell, if anyone wants to go ahead and put in the chat feature, is this a buyer or seller? And then I'm going to go ahead and open up this one too, so you can see both pictures. Is this a buyer or seller? So on the left-hand side, anyone wants to comment, you can really quick. This is technically going to be a seller, and the demographic is an empty nester. Someone who's a little bit older, kids are out, they're now in college, they're looking to sell. And the right-hand side, this is someone saying, hey, I'm done. 5 dumbest things landlords do. I'm tired of renting. And these give you some images around things maybe you could post or ads that you can run to be able to help you be able to identify or connect with your ideal buyer or seller to have more success with that process. And if you then say, okay, I want to work with buyers, I want to work with first-time home buyers, how do you then market to that first-time home buyer? Well, you use social media. You also could use, say, video marketing. You can also use your website, and you can also use, say, potentially Facebook ads. So I say, hey, the Facebook pixel for retarget marketing. You can then plant the cookie. You can run ads. These are the different action items that you potentially could use and start today. The social media is all free. Doesn't cost you a dime. And, pulling out your smartphone and doing a video around buyer content or seller content, giving back, giving them some good information, won't cost you anything but time. So these are some suggestions and some things that you can do to reach out to your ideal client. Here's the list. This gives you a full understanding of the list. So you have the who, is it buyer or seller? The why, what's your approach? Why is the person looking to buy or sell? Are they a first-time home buyer? Are they looking to upgrade, relocate, sell by owner? And how do you market to them? It could be a millennial. It could be someone that is needing to upsell, downsell, upsize, downsize, someone that is an empty nester. So it really breaks down on this list from 1 through 13, and it gives you some context. So that way you can really put it in perspective and be like, okay, I want to work with a first-time home buyer. That person is going to be probably a millennial and someone that is renting that's looking to then move into their first home. So how do you reach out to that first home buyer? You could do videos around good information to then help them with the process. You can also partner with a mortgage broker, someone like Arjun, to help with that process as well, to bring that together full circle. And then you can be able to have more success through that process with the 7 triggers to yes to give back to them. And you can start compiling your content calendar by literally writing down what you want to do and thinking about how you want to execute this, and then putting together a plan in place and being consistent. So if you want to take a picture of this, if you've already taken a picture of this, fantastic. That's a great slide to keep. So now we want to go ahead and deep dive into some stats and some analytics. Does your website need to be consistent with your online marketing and also your landing page? It's yes. This is just a website that we've done for Don and Susan in Pleasanton, and this is going to be a lead page, and this lead page is for, say, their approach, which is luxury homeowners, and they're looking to market to someone that's looking to sell their home in, say, Ruby Hills. So that's going to be their approach, and that's their lead page and their website. That's going to be consistent with their social media, as you can see here. So the biggest thing here is consistency. You want to have consistency across the board. So go through your social media. I challenge you to Google search yourself. Look at the different accounts that you have. Look at the headshot. Look at the timeline photograph. What does it look like? Identify, where you're currently at. That's why we wanted you to do the exposure grade, to really find out where you're at and to give you some context to help you have success with marketing online. So now let's go ahead and get into the analytics. So understanding your website analytics. analytics. These are some things to think about. Understanding your social media analytics. These are some things to think about. It's good to know like who's in your audience, how many individuals are going to say each page on your website. Here's some things to think about right here. Who's going to your website? What pages are they going to? Are they going to your buy side page, your sell side page? Are they entering any information? Do you have videos on your website they potentially could watch? Website stats. Social stats, you really want to find out who's in your audience, who's engaging with you, how many posts you've sent out. If you have people that are commenting and liking and saying things when you post, those are individuals that are going to be your supporters that potentially may look to buy a home or sell a home, or may have someone they know looking to buy or sell. And when you think about your social media, think about who's in your audience. What is the growth looking like? Are you getting additional likes, followers, and connections month in and month out? Are they engaging? Are you consistent with your posting content? Like, these are things to take in consideration when you go through the process of posting online and doing social media postings. So now let's talk about these 3 different social platforms, and we want to give you some analytics behind these different ones. Also want to let you know that 92% of consumers shop online, and out of that, 75 window shop agents and actually look to see if they want to work with someone. Now this is getting closer to the 100 range. I want to say 100% of consumers now shopping online, and probably closer to 90%, if not 100% now, are looking at homes online and potentially going to buy a home because of a video walkthrough tour. So that's really popular right now, and a lot of individuals are looking at how can they maximize video walkthrough tours to advertise their listings because of what's going on. All right, so Instagram, 1 billion active daily users, 71% are 35 years of age or younger. So you have a demographic of 35 and younger, 71% here on Instagram. And it's the second most engaged platform from Facebook. And if you can then, and then 60% of their users log in daily, I would say that Instagram's maybe getting a little bit closer to actually surpassing Facebook. And they back in 2013 they said that 5 million videos were uploaded, and within 24 hours those 5 million videos were uploaded. So back in 2013, 5 million videos were uploaded within 24 hours, which is pretty amazing to think about. So if you haven't done a video on Instagram, look up Arjun, look at his videos, and look at what his approach looks like to give back to his audience, and that will give you some context. And also Insta stories are very, very, very powerful. So if you can get on your Insta stories and do more behind the scenes of what you're doing, we all should know, and I think we all know, that people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So if you could build that know, like, and trust factor from your social media, from your Instagram, from doing video postings or Insta story postings that are a lot easier than needing to film a video and upload a video. If it's like something you want to edit, or if it's something that more fancy, you can literally just pull out your phone and do a quick little Insta story and say, I'm at this front of this home, or maybe I'm going to look at a home, or maybe give them some tips and some suggestions or some things to think about, or maybe I'm with my children and here's my daughter, here's my son. Bring them a little bit into your reality, into your life, build that know, like, and trust factor. So YouTube's huge. I think we've all probably looked something up on YouTube before to fix something or do something or what have you. It's funny, they said 90% of consumers will buy a home because of video by 2020. And the interesting thing is I think 100% of people now are going to buy a home because of video. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you use YouTube. Use YouTube for all your video walkthrough tours. If you're paying a video company to then go and say, film the video, and they just give you a link, or you're using something like Tour Factory, you really want to get individuals a part of your ecosystem on YouTube, and you want to ask them to like the video, subscribe to the video, hit the notification bell, because those can turn into your ecosystem that can then automatically turn into a part of basically, like, say, email marketing. You send out an email and you have your contact list. It's the same difference with your YouTube channel. They can go onto your YouTube channel, look at your videos. If they subscribe, they hit the notification bell, they're a part of your ecosystem. A new video gets uploaded, boom, they automatically will see your next video. So highly recommend YouTube. 1.3 billion active users and 30 million visitors per day of the age of 18 to 49 years of age. So 18 to 49, that gives you a good idea of, okay, that could be a buyer or seller there. And YouTube videos, really cool thing about YouTube videos outside of Instagram, which we just talked about, those videos will stay up for life. So if you have a good title, you have a good body, and you have a good thumbnail, like, hey, I'm going to do a YouTube video series of maybe the buying process. You have a playlist, YouTube, here's the buying process. Step 1, get pre-approved. And you do these videos, you literally someone can be looking online, looking to get pre-approved. They see the title of that video that you did, they stumble upon your video, and you potentially just earned someone's business by default, and you didn't even try because they basically went and saw your video. And YouTube videos stay up forever. So take that in consideration. Instagram, YouTube videos, they die off within 24 to 48 hours. And the way it works is for like YouTube and Instagram is they'll show the video to a certain segment of your audience, and then they'll show it to another segment if they engage and they watch more than 15 seconds of your video, which we're going to talk here in a second about. So 1.49 billion active users on Facebook. Interesting stat, 75% are female on Facebook. We have 62% are 50 to 65 plus years of age. If you're looking to work with an empty nester, this is a perfect location to run ads, post on, and to be able to do some boosting and sponsored content around good information about, are you looking to downsize? And maybe you can then have them check out maybe the community of Rossmore. Since we're here in the Bay Area, Rossmore is an amazing retirement community, and there's a huge upside and opportunity. And I'm sure there's a lot of individuals that are living right outside of Rossmore, could downsize, move into Rossmore, are on Facebook. You can come out with some content, and you potentially can market to that demographic. And I was just talking about this. So the average watch time on a video is about 10 seconds. If you can get above 15 seconds as far as with putting a video onto Facebook, then you're going to be above average, which then gives you the ability to reach out to a higher demographic. So you can actually reach out to not just 10% of your friends, but maybe 50, 60, 70, and maybe you can even reach out to some of their friends of friends if they share the video that you put out there. It's amazing how video marketing works and how a viral video literally can just take off, and before you know it, you're like, oh my God, I did this video, I thought nothing of it, and now it went viral. And that's how it happens. So let's recap. Understand your what, buyer or seller, both. Understanding the why. Why is the person looking? Who can you follow? And just go ahead and say yes, thumbs up, something. So who can you follow? These are some individuals that you can follow to really help you in your business. Got someone in the chat. So awesome. Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, Rick. So all right, so let's finish off. So who can you follow? So these are some individuals that you can follow to really help your business. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel personally, or professionally, should I say. You can also follow us on Liftoff Agents Instagram channel. These are going to give you some good resources, and we post lots of free content just to help you. And here's our podcast, as Arjun was talking about. Real Estate First Technology is a podcast that we have, and we interview top agents, and we ask them very specifically, what are they doing to grow their business and scale their business using technology, and we would love for you to subscribe and follow. And then from there, we do have 2 different plans. So our startup identifies your strategy, branding, website funnels, and the ramp up gets into your social media and setting up your ads and getting into video. So we are the person that sets everything up, and then we disseminate content. We don't film or any of that type of thing. We just give you ideas and get you focused on your ideal client area that you serve. And then just to take action now, you've already filled out the exposure grade. We appreciate you. Liftoffagent.com. We are offering everyone here a free strategy session, and you will receive $200 off if you do want to sign up with us and you wanted to work with us. I do want to show you some context, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put those into the chat section. And what I want to show you really quick is I want to show you some examples of what I'm talking about so you can have a better understanding of what it looks like. So I'm going to show you Mr. Matt Tenzar. So if I go into Matt Tenzar's website, this is going to be his website, and I really want to show you how he gets focused, how he has his brand, he has his buyer and seller side, and he gets really focused on looking to downsize as one of his approaches. So I want to show you, this is a lead page. You could go to Insta page and set this up yourself. He has then blogs that could be found for search engine optimization, helpful downsize blogs, and then his toolkit box. So what's your current home worth? Let's search for your next home. Let's set up property alerts, and let's get a mortgage calculator going and find out what your new price or new payment would be. So that's going to be that. And if you look at, say, social media, like I just already said with the presentation and Donna and Susan, everything's just going to be consistent across the board. And you'll see that everything is very consistent here. And that's something to take in consideration and you want to have, so that way you can maximize those opportunities. And I just subscribed to his channel. And I'm actually right now in Real Estate versus Technology. So I'll go ahead and show you really quick. This is going to be our Real Estate versus Technology podcast YouTube channel. And you're more than welcome to check out Mr. Supreme Agent. This individual's 24 years of age, and he's already on track for 18 listings, closed his first year in business. He's only been in business for 8 months. He's already done 12 transactions, and Supreme Agent only focuses on online marketing and Instagram. So he gives you tons of free information it's in this podcast, and you're more than welcome to watch it. You're more than welcome to check it out. It'll give you some really good content. And then from there, I'll go ahead and show you our other channel. This is going to be the Liftoff Agent channel, and this will give you some context around what you can look at. And we talk very specifically, like, is now a time to invest in your business? We also talked about how and what's the best practices and techniques when posting on Instagram. And I use Arjun, who is our speaker today, to really show you one of his posts and how he's navigating, how to navigate Facebook and Instagram lives, starting to do stories, and giving you some suggestions on how to do stories. So this is all free content and good information that you could use for your business, and what we like to do for everyone that's watching today. And thank you so much for staying into the end. Just go ahead and offer you all a free strategy, no obligation deep dive meeting into your business, give you that $200 off. And we're also doing 50-50 splits for COVID-19 on the startup cost, so we can split that in half to help you out financially. So thank you so much. We really appreciate everyone being here today. Unfortunately, Cody couldn't join us. I really wanted him to join us today. These are some individuals you can follow. Be sure to check us out. New podcast episode comes out today with Dino. Dino's in San Francisco, and last year he did $53 million in transaction volume. So super heavy hitter, amazing guy, and someone that definitely you're going to want to check out for this coming up podcast. So thank you so much for everyone that joined. I really appreciate you. We're going to have this edited and we'll put this back out. So if you're watching this in the future, thank you for watching. And if you're here today, thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you. We hope you found value from today's event, and we have some new events coming in the very near future, more along the lines of how to navigate. We're looking at an event to how to navigate virtual tours, best practices and techniques, and how can you leverage Zoom, for example, to make that happen. So have an amazing weekend. We appreciate you all. Take care. Have a good one. And sorry about the interruption there. So take care. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.